everybody, and welcome to Mike Nierychlo Online, sharing my love for people, wine, food, and all things made passionately. Alright, so today's episode, we're talking a little bit about Pinot Grigio. Now, Pinot Grigio, probably one of the most well-known, popular white wines on the face of the planet. Now, little fact on Pinot Grigio, you often see Pinot Gris as well. Well, it happens to be the exact same grape variety. Now, it's a little bit of confusion between Pinot Gris and Pinot Grigio. Pinot Gris is classically the more French or more Alsatian style of making Pinot Gris. Pinot Grigio is the more Italian style. So Pinot Gris, the French style, tends to be a little bit more, how do you want to put it? A little bit softer, tends to have, they still have this great acidity to it, a little bit softer, slightly maybe creamier with their winemaking techniques. Pinot Grigio, on the other hand, is the Italian style. Very bright, tends to be quite acidic, quite, anyway, just put it, let's play it a little bit sharper, we'll put it that way. Two different styles of making the same sort of grape variety. I believe it originated in France, in the Alsatian area of France, made its way to Italy, and now it's kind of made its way to the rest of the world. It's a very popular grape here in BC, the Okanagan to be grown, does quite well here. Now, I want to do a little bit of a, let's call this slightly educational or slightly lesson-oriented. When wine is planted, in two different climates, it does very different things, or very interesting things. So I've got the same variety here, Pinot Grigio, but we're doing something, one from South America and one from North America, two completely different climates, opposite sides of the equator. So we're going to taste them out. So the first one I've got for you is from Avril Creek. It's their 2009 Pinot Grigio. Now Avril Creek is located in Duncan on Vancouver Island. You don't get a much more cooler climate than that for Pinot Grigio. And the second I've got for you, talk about in a sec, is the Grafigna from Argentina, in a very southern part of Argentina. So you don't get much more southern than that. Two very separated areas for growing the same grape variety. So I'm very curious how these play out. Typically in a cooler climate you get a more brighter, more acidic, more apple flavors, things like that, and in a hotter climate you get more tropical flavors. So let's see how these play out. So again, the first one, the 2009 Pinot Grigio from Avril Creek. Cooler climate up here in British Columbia. Let's see how it goes. Now this one, I think is about an $18 wine. Alright, nice color, very typical Pinot Grigio color, kind of that soft, very just golden yellow. Alright. Ooh, okay. On the nose, this is crisp. Very crisp, very bright. This reminds me of like apple crisp or apple crumble. So much green apple or Granny Smith apple. Like a hint of like lime zest, something like that. But it's got a very interesting, almost breadiness to it. Yeah, it reminds me of like the pie crust or the cake you put on top of apple crumble. Interesting. That could be a sign that they possibly did this wine thoroughly, leaving the wine on the dead yeast cells for a little while, something along those lines, to give it more of that aroma. Actually, the aroma of this wine very much reminds me, this is like drinking a still champagne. That's what the aroma reminds me of. Bready, appley, reminds me very much of a bubbly. Okay, on the palate. Interesting wine. It's got a neat, bright, very tart acidity on it. Not over the top, but it's got that kind of mouth-drying acidity ever so slight, like a green apple. It's very green apple. Very much green apple meets pear. This wine. Yeah, green apple meets pear. I like it. I think it's a good wine. I think this would pair exceptionally well with your blue cheeses, things like that. That acidity is going to work really well with a stinky cheese. All right, the second one. Now we're going south. Argentina. Give myself a splash for a rinse here. Perfect. Now, Argentina, area of the world where we find pretty good bargains on wine. Bargains are great value, put it that way. This one's a $12 wine. It's their 2010 Pinot Grigio. It's their reserve. Unfortunately, not the same vintage, but it's not going to tell you a whole lot just because they're so far apart. Okay, so let's try this one out. Now, this one's definitely lighter in color. Much lighter in color. It's almost that white with a hint of yellow to it. Let's see how this one plays out. Okay, like I predicted and was hoping. On the nose of this one, like I said, $12 wine, much more tropical. There's almost zero apple or anything on those. This reminds me much more of papaya. Yeah, papaya, some pineapple. Those soft tropical fruits. You know the meat of tropical fruits, how it's got that really nice softness to it? A lot of soft tropical fruit. Definitely jumping papaya all over the place. I'd venture to say some peach to it. Slightly floral. You can tell the heat has gotten to this wine. Wow. Okay. Hold on a sec. I love it. No matter what anybody says, no matter how snooty of a wine critic you are or whatever, everybody loves it when this happens. This is a $12 bottle of wine. Don't buy your boxed wine, don't buy this wine. If you want a nice, crisp, clean, floral, aromatic, peaches, papaya, the mouthfeel is great, it's a complete wine, it's savory, it's got a great acidity, pineapple till tomorrow on the palate, fresh pineapple juice. Slightly floral, savory, good wine. I like it when that happens. Value wine. $12 wine, really nice. Worth the purchase. Worth the purchase for 12 bucks, and that's up here in Canada. With that said, Pinot Grigio, same grape as Pinot Gris, popular wine. I think most people out there is going to like this one a lot. Grafigna, well done. Thanks very much. Albert Creek, as well, a nice wine, but not the value that this one is. So thank you everybody so much for watching today. We'll see you on the next episode.